Hey everyone, so today I'm here to share my thoughts on 20 different drugstore and affordable makeup products. I've tried a bunch of them over the last few weeks and I've really thoroughly tested everything, so I wanted to come back and share some final updates with you. I have talked about a couple of these in a few of my recent videos, so if you're like, we already know your thoughts on that, feel free to jump ahead. I'll put timestamps in the description box below, but I wanted to do like a big roundup and share all of my thoughts in one place. I try to switch up the way that I film these videos. I'm just always looking for like the most helpful way. In today's video, instead of ranking everything from like least favorite to top favorite, which I think I did recently, I'm actually going to split it up into categories. So I'll do face, then I'll do cheeks, then lips, then eyes. And within each of those categories, I'll rank it from my least favorite all the way to my top favorite, just because it's kind of hard to rank like a mascara compared to a lip gloss compared to a foundation. So let's get started and we'll start with face products. Starting with the bottom, this product didn't work for me personally, but I think it could work for you, just depending on what you're looking for. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. I also think I might end up reaching for this a little bit more during the fall and the winter compared to the summer, which is when I've really been testing it out. So I actually thought this was going to be a dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Setting Spray. And I have heard some people say they do find them to be very, very similar. I don't find them to be similar enough. I think the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Setting Spray is very hydrating, but it does help to lock my makeup into place well. If I use it as an actual setting spray, it does give me a very dewy, glowy look. But if I use it as a priming spray, I find that my makeup lasts a little bit longer. This almost has a little bit more of an oily finish to it. So it definitely gives you that dewy, glowy finish, whether you're using it as a primer or a setting spray, but it doesn't really have like that slightly tacky feel that I find the Hydro Grip Setting Spray does. I've heard mixed reviews on this. Some people absolutely love this, and I think a lot of the people who really enjoy this product have dry skin, whereas I do have oily skin, especially in the summertime. I think it does leave your skin feeling really refreshed, very, very hydrated, but I don't find that it really extends the wear of my makeup. If you have oily skin, I probably would skip over this just because for me, I feel like it maybe breaks down my makeup a little bit faster. It leaves me looking a little bit too glowy, but if you like that look or you have dry skin, I definitely think there could be a place in your makeup collection for this. So I'm going to put this away until fall and winter roll back around, and then I'll pull it back out and see if I like it more then. Okay, so number 6, I actually have another product from e.l.f. This is their Stay Cool Primer Stick. I swear they had this product years ago and then they discontinued it and they actually relaunched it under another name. I remember like storing this where I would do my makeup back at like my old house years ago. I had this like glass top vanity from IKEA and it always sat right on top. And I would use it really often. And then one day it wasn't available anymore. So I think this is the exact same product. I haven't really compared the ingredients or anything like that. I just remember using this a lot. I do really like this product. And again, for me, I think it's going to be more so a staple during the fall and the winter. I like keeping it with my makeup, but you could totally keep this with your skincare depending on how you like to use it. It's basically a moisturizer stick and it's very smooth on the skin, very lightweight. So if you deal with a little bit of dryness, I think it's perfect because sometimes after you do your skincare, you wash your face, you apply your serums, your moisturizer, and then you go about your day and you want to do your makeup later on. You feel like there are just like a few areas on your face that could use a little extra moisture. And that's when this product comes in handy. So for me, that's like right around my nose, around my chin. So if I'm doing my makeup hours later, instead of reapplying like a full moisturizer, I'll just go in with a little bit of this on any of those areas and it just kind of refreshes my skin. I don't think it's an absolute necessity to add to your collection, especially if you apply moisturizer or you have like a good hydrating base, but I do think it's just like a nice little handy product to have if you are like me and sometimes do your skincare and then wait to do your makeup. But I do really enjoy it. It's not something that I feel like everyone needs to run out and buy, but it is a really nice product. Okay, number 4 and number 5, I do have 2 different primers from CoverGirl. I did rank these a little bit differently because I do like one better than the other, but I'll kind of talk about them at the same time because I do want to compare them. So these are from the new TruBlend Skin Enhancer line. They have a couple of different options. They have some different primers. They also have some glowy bases that you could use to either mix in with your primer or use before foundation. I haven't tried anything else from the line, but there are maybe 1 or 2 other formulas that I do want to pick up. So I actually grabbed the Plush Plump Replenishing Primer and the Sticky Grip Tightening Primer. So the Plush Plump Primer is the one that I ranked a little bit lower. This is a very hydrating primer. I think it's going to be most ideal if you have dry skin because it almost has a little bit of like a serum-like texture as you blend it into the skin. It feels very hydrating, very refreshing. It is super, super thin and you don't need a lot of product, but it just kind of creates like the perfect hydrated base before you go in with makeup. What's interesting is once this does dry down fully, there's almost like a slightly tacky base to it. Or I guess I should say it feels like a slightly tacky base, like there's almost a little bit of a grip to it, so that like completely silky serum-like texture doesn't exactly stay on the skin. So I feel like that's important to note, but it does leave my skin feeling really hydrated throughout the day, and makeup applies really nicely on top. It doesn't break down, my skin doesn't look oily, so I think it is a nice option. The sticky grip is obviously meant to kind of lock your makeup into place. This one also has a little bit of a gel-like texture to it. It's slightly thicker than the Plush Plump, but not by much. If you're comparing this to like the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, which is my favorite tacky, sticky base, this is much thinner. If the Power Grip is a little bit too intense for you, if you find that too thick, too sticky, but you still want something that's slightly tacky, this Covergirl might be a great option because it is significantly less intense than the e.l.f. one. In fact, I think it's the least sticky out of all of the sticky primers I've tried, but again, it still does dry down and leave you with a little bit of a tacky feel to the skin, so it does extend the wear of my makeup, and makeup looks really great on top. It doesn't look uneven or patchy. When I was trying these primers out for the first time, it kind of threw me off because after I let them both dry down and then I touched my skin, it kind of felt the same on both sides. So I don't think there is a big difference between the two. They have different purposes, they have different ingredients, but in the end, I definitely don't think you need both. The one I like a little bit better is the sticky one because I felt like by the end of the day, the makeup on the side where I used the sticky primer just looked a little bit better. Not significantly better, but I felt like it was extra smooth and it lasted a little bit longer than it did with this one. So they're both nice options. I think if you have a lot of primers in your collection you're happy with, you don't need to run out and buy these. But like I said, if a lot of the sticky primers are a little bit too much for you, I think this could be a really good alternative. And number 3, I actually have a new powder. I haven't tried a lot of powders this year, but I love trying powders so much. So I was excited when I saw Catrice launched their All Matte Plus Shine Control Powder. It's supposed to be 12-hour, long-lasting. It's supposed to set your makeup into place, but give you a satin matte, even complexion. So at first I was like, that's probably going to be very, very similar to the Essence All About Matte, just because Catrice and Essence are sister brands, and I do find some of their formulas to be extremely similar. This is not quite like that one. The Essence All About Matte powder is one of my absolute favorites. It is extremely mattifying, but it's also extremely powdery. So I really only like to reach for that one during the summertime when my skin is extremely oily. During like the spring, the fall, the winter, or no, the spring, the fall, and the winter, it's just a little bit too matte for my complexion. This one is not quite as matte or as powdery as the Essence one, but it does lock my makeup into place. I feel like it's a few steps down from the Essence one. So if that one's like a little bit too chalky feeling, a little bit too matte for you, this could be a more ideal option. It seems to be pressed more firmly in the pan, and I kind of wonder as I use it if that will change a little bit. You know how sometimes when you get to the bottom of a powder, it starts to feel a little bit more powdery. I'll keep you posted if that's the case, but I think this is a great touch-up powder. When my skin is looking kind of oily, I'll usually take a little bit of this on like a brush and just kind of tap it over the areas where I want to kind of dull that shine. And it's perfect because it doesn't completely erase like all of the glow on my skin. It just creates more of like an even, smooth, soft matte complexion. And number 2, I have the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I absolutely love this product. I know that I've used it in at least one other video. I'll use it in another video coming up because I'm planning on doing like another video, a full face of drugstore video soon. But this is such a beautiful foundation. I actually like this so much more than I expected to. I hoped that I would like it, but I can be kind of picky about new foundations. This has quickly become one of my favorites. It is a medium to buildable coverage foundation, so you can get more of a full coverage look if that's what you're going for, but it applies so beautifully. You can really buff it into the skin. You can layer it up. It doesn't look heavy or cakey, which I think is really interesting because just based on the texture of it, I thought it might look a little bit heavy on the skin as I built it up in certain areas, but that's not the case. I find that it's very lightweight, so comfortable on the skin, which is really nice for the summertime because even though I get the coverage I want, it doesn't feel heavy at all. It does dry down to more of a matte Well, I guess it depends on the base you use. Like a lot of the bases, I don't know, I switch back and forth. Like sometimes I'll use a glowy base, and in that case, it does look more hydrating, but sometimes I'll use a matte base, and in that case, it dries down to more of a matte finish than I originally thought it would. What I'm saying is I typically pair it with the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer, and in that case, it looks matte, or the e.l.f. Jelly Pop or Power Grip, and in that case, it looks glowy. So it's kind of like a customizable foundation, which is my perfect formula because I do like to switch it up depending on what mood I'm in. So it really is beautiful, long-lasting, comfortable, lightweight, just really gorgeous on the skin. I haven't had any issues with it, and it has quickly become one of my go-to formulas. So an absolute favorite for sure. And number one, I have to say, I cannot stop using the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. I told you guys I loved this years ago, and then they discontinued it, so I just kind of stuck with the Power Grip Primer, which I love so much, but they are different. In my mind for the past few years, I kept telling myself like they're the exact same, but they're not. The Power Grip is a little bit thicker. I still love that one so much, but this one is a little bit thinner, so it's easier to apply, and I feel like it looks extra glowy on the skin. When I wear it under my foundation looks amazing. Like no matter what formula I'm using, I feel like it just elevates the foundation. It makes my skin look so smooth. I've been dealing with a lot of hormonal breakouts over the last few months, and every time I use this, I feel like it just smooths over any area where my skin is freaking out. On top of that, it makes my makeup last all day. It has been so hot. I don't actually know I'm wearing a sweatshirt in this weather. It is July, and it's actually really hot in here right now. I just kind of grabbed it and threw it on, but I feel like even on those hot, like 90-degree days, by the end of the day, my makeup looks so good. It looks glowy, it looks smooth, it hasn't worn off, it's not patchy or uneven. I'm honestly blown away every single time I use this. The only con for me is that this is limited edition. I don't know why they don't just make it permanent. I think they're doing like a whole what's the word? What am I trying to think of? Like they're trying to create FOMO around this product. That's not exactly what I'm trying to say, but it was a limited edition product and they brought it back and then they discontinue it. So every time they bring it back, they're trying to create like buzz because there's only like a limited amount or whatever. I wish they would make it permanent because it is such a good product. And the other con is that it does have a very strong watermelon scent, which I know a lot of people don't like. That's why the Power Grip is a good alternative. And I think that one works almost just as great. It's just slightly thicker, so it takes extra time blending it into the skin, but that one does not have a scent if you're interested in trying that one. But I'm impressed by this. I don't want to use anything else except for the days where I want like a fully matte look. Then I might reach for the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer, but this is amazing. Okay, let's move on to cheek products. So I have 3 different products in this category. So I did order pretty much all of the products from the Essence Apricot collection. I was so excited about it. I don't know why, but in my mind, I guess as I was ordering them, I thought it was a peach collection. It's an apricot collection, which when it comes down to like scent and color is kind of similar as far as like what makeup brands would do. Anyway, my least favorite product from the collection is definitely the blush. This looks really pretty in the pan. It kind of looks like it's going to be a little bit more intense than it actually is. And in the video where I was initially testing this out and I was swatching it, it like completely disappears into my hand. You really can't even see any color when I swatch it. Once I applied it to the cheeks, it did show up a little bit better, and it actually looks a lot prettier on the cheeks than it does when you swatch it. So it's one of those products that just applies a lot differently than you would think it does. So this is a fully matte blush. There is no glow, there's no shimmer to it at all. And normally I don't love matte blushes, but I have to say I've come to appreciate this one during the summer just because it is so hot outside and I usually go in with a lot of powder anyway. I feel like it pairs well with my matte looks. So I do feel like I reach for this a little bit more than I initially thought I would. But I will say, if your skin is really any darker than mine, I don't know that it's going to show up well enough for you to really want to add this to your collection. I definitely think there are better formulas out there that can be applied very softly or built up, but I understand there are people who do like something really soft, very, very subtle. So if that's the case, maybe you would enjoy it, but for the most part, I would say skip over it. The other cheek product from the collection is the Got a Crush on Apricots Baked Highlighter. I was so excited about this. I talked about this in a previous video. Mine did arrive broken, so I put it back together and it works fine. I wasn't sure if it was going to change the texture, and I'm still not completely sure if this was how it would feel before it broke and I pressed it back together. I will use that as a warning, and when I mentioned that in my video, a ton of you said you ordered this and it came completely crushed, and it's not something you can buy in stores. So if you really want this, keep in mind there is a chance that it might come broken. In the video where I was initially applying this, I feel like I applied a little bit too much on my skin, but I feel like if I just go in with like a very subtle amount, it adds a glow to the skin without being over the top, and it has this really gorgeous, like peachy, pinky tone to it. And that is something I've been searching for in highlighter. I have only a couple of pink highlighters in my collection, but I almost like this one better because it does have like that peachiness to it as well. So it's warm toned. It's not too cool. And there are days where I want like a cooler pink highlighter, but I feel like most of the time with the way I do my makeup, this may be a little bit more flattering for my skin tone. So I do like that product. It's not a permanent product, so it won't be around forever. I just wish they would do more colors of their pure nude baked highlighter. I feel like if they came out with a bunch of shades, that would be so nice because that is such a loved formula, and like a beautiful peachy pink tone in that formula would be perfect. This is a little bit different. It's slightly more metallic, a little bit more intense, but it is a pretty shade as long as you're willing to chance that it might arrive broken. Okay, last product in this category is something that I just talked about in a video I did on underrated makeup that deserves to go viral. It is the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Glow Stick. This is so stunning. It is one of my absolute favorite highlighters of all time. I loved this years ago, but what's interesting is when I first tried this, when they released it, I don't even know how long ago that was. It was a long time ago, like a few summers ago. I wasn't really into cream highlighters, and now I do love a good cream highlighter, and I feel like I can appreciate the formula even more. It is so pretty on the skin. It just has like this gorgeous, almost like pearly leaning translucent base with a little bit of pinkiness to it. So that's what it looks like just swatched on my hand, but you can tap it into the skin. You can really blend it in for a little bit more of a natural look, and it gives your skin like the most beautiful glow. It doesn't look heavy or cakey or metallic. Like, it really gives you that glass skin effect, which is so pretty. I do find that this layers well on top of already set makeup. Like if you're wearing foundation and you set it with powder, you can still tap this into the skin and it doesn't give you the look of like cream on top of powder where it kind of makes it cake up and look a little bit uneven. It's very lightweight. Like, it really has like this slippery, almost like glidey texture to it. So it layers so nicely on top of makeup, but it's also great if you're not wearing a lot of makeup. Like if you go very minimal with your makeup in the summertime and you just want to add this to bare skin, I think that would be so stunning too. Again, a potential con is that it does smell like watermelon, and you can smell it while it's on the skin. It's not an unpleasant scent, but it is there. If you don't like something that doesn't fully dry down, I would also skip over this because your hair will stick to it if your hair is down. It's not like a sticky texture. It definitely has like this smooth, creamy texture, but it doesn't completely settle onto the skin. So just something to note. Okay, let's talk lip products. So I have 7 different lip products to talk about in today's video, quite a few. So this first one is something that I just mentioned in my most recent fails video. If you want to hear about more makeup products that really didn't work out for me, I'll link that video below. But these are from Catrice. I love the brand Catrice, but I really don't like this product. This is their Melt and Shine Juicy Lip Balm. I really like pretty much every click up lip balm or glossy stick I've tried from really every brand out there. Some of them are very similar, some are a little bit different, but this was just a fail for me. First of all, I only have 2 shades, but they're very different. So I think the formula is kind of inconsistent. The click up packaging doesn't always fully work for me. It hasn't gotten to the point where I can't use the product, but sometimes the actual clicker gets stuck. So I feel like eventually it might completely go out on me, just something I want to point out. But I have a lighter shade and a little bit of a darker shade. The lighter shade, which is called, where's the name? Secret, doesn't really show up. It's basically like a clear balm, and I don't know if the product went bad or if it's meant to look like that, but online I feel like it has a little bit more color if you're looking at the swatches on their website. The other one definitely has more pigment. This one is called Lost at Sea, and on the lips it's even more vibrant. So those are very different, just something to note. Anyway, when you swatch them, they definitely look glossy. Like, they have a nice sheen to them. On the lips, it doesn't completely translate like that. Like, this one does a little bit, but this one just basically looks and feels like an actual balm. They're slightly waxy, almost a little bit plasticky feeling, and they taste like that too. So it's kind of an unpleasant experience just to wear them and taste them while they're on. They don't last very well. Like, I feel like I can apply this product and then just maybe 10 minutes later, the glossy layer is completely gone and you have like an underwhelming, almost like not even satin finish. It basically looks like it's just completely worn off. So they're not long lasting, which I didn't expect them to be super long lasting because they are so glossy, but I did expect them to last a little bit longer than like 10 minutes. And once they wear off, I feel like they kind of dry my lips out. So I just find them to be a complete fail. Like I've said in previous videos, there are just too many other options out there. Okay, number 6 is the Got a Crush on Apricots Jelly Lip Care. I was so excited about this product because I love the Essence lip oils. They have a couple of different options, and I thought this one would smell really good. It's super cute. It's just very, very underwhelming. I'm wearing a little bit of this today on top of the e.l.f. O Face Satin Lipstick in the shade No Doubt. So the shiny, glossy finish you're seeing is from this product. It's not overly scented. In fact, I feel like this is one of the least scented products from the line. It has like a slight apricot scent, but it's not going to be something that you're really going to notice as you're applying the product. I like the applicator. It's large. It kind of reminds me of the, I swear I always forget the name of them, and they're one of my new favorite lip oils from 2024. The Hydra Kiss lip oils, yeah, that's what they're called, from Essence. Are they rounded like this? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think those are maybe a little bit more pointed. Either way, I do like the applicator on this product. This is a very thin, very oily lip oil. It is not going to feel luxurious or thick or plush or cushiony. It's so thin, it wears off pretty quickly. So it's the type of product you're going to have to reapply over and over. It doesn't dry my lips out, but it doesn't leave them feeling moisturized. It really is just a super underwhelming formula. It's not something I really recommend picking up. It's $4.99, but you get a very, very small amount of product in here compared to other products from Essence, 0.08 fluid ounces. For reference, the Hydra Kiss lip oils come with 0.14 ounces, so almost twice the amount of product for the same exact price. So I wouldn't normally say that's going to be a big deal to a lot of people because chances are a lot of us have multiple lip products, but because this is such a thin, runny formula that wears off so fast and you're going to have to reapply it constantly, I do think you'll run right through this product. So honestly, I would say skip over it. It's just a very underwhelming formula. I do have another lip oil to talk about. This one is from e.l.f. It's their Jelly Pop Glow Reviver lip oil. So when I initially tried this, I was like, oh, I really like it. And then I wore it a few more times, and I just don't think it's the same formula as their full, like, permanent Glow Reviver lip oil formula. It is meant to be a little bit different because it's part of the Jelly Pop collection. So it does have a watermelon scent, which is different than the main line. And this one also has shimmer in it. And the existing line, none of those have shimmer in them. So it does look slightly different on the lips, but the actual formula is different too. Like, this is not as shiny or glowy or glossy. It's a little bit more subtle. The shimmer, I think, is a nice touch. It's not completely noticeable. Like, it looks a lot different on the lips than it does in the tube. And the shimmer is kind of like a barely there type of shimmer, but it's pretty if you do like shimmer in your lip products. This does have a very strong watermelon scent. And when I first applied, I was like, oh, I like the scent. But then when I read your comments on my video, a lot of you were like, no, it's a terrible watermelon scent. Some of you were like, it's like a chemically scent, it's a plasticky scent. I feel like I can definitely understand where people are coming from when they describe it as like a plastic watermelon scent. It's not something that bothers me personally, but what bothers me is just the fact that it's not as glossy or hydrating or smooth or glowy as the original line. So I don't think it is the same quality. And I don't know what they changed exactly. Maybe it's just adding the shimmer. Maybe they had to switch up the formula just because it is part of the Jelly Pop line. But I think out of all 3 products in this summer's Jelly Pop collection, I wouldn't recommend picking this one up. But I do think these 2 are great, just like they originally were years ago. Number 4 is a product that I think is really good. It just comes down to personal preference, and I don't love the shade on me. Again, this is part of the Essence Apricots collection. This is their Swirl Lip Gloss. It looks really pretty in the tube. When you apply this to the lips, at least when I apply this to the lips, it has kind of like this corally, orangey, hot pink effect. So I don't find the color extremely flattering on me. I mean, it is pretty. If I'm going for like a very minimal makeup look and I'm not wearing like a ton of color on my face, it's kind of nice to add this just for like an extra added pop. But I don't know, there's like something about the tone that I don't love. Like, it's not something I reach for a lot. That being said, the formula is really, really great. It is very, very smooth, very glossy. It has like the perfect amount of pigment. Like, it is a pigmented gloss, but you can still kind of see through it. So it makes your lips look very smooth, very pretty. You get a pop of color, but it's not so pigmented that I feel like you're going to have to worry about getting like all over the place. They only have one shade, so you're going to really have to like that shade on you in order to buy this. I think the formula is great, so if they released additional shades as like part of their permanent line, I would definitely revisit the collection in the future. I'm just not sold on this shade on me personally. And number 3, I have a product from e.l.f. So this is not a brand new release. They have like that sticker on it, which I'm just going to leave it on there because I feel like sometimes when I pull those stickers off, they get stuck and I hate when like the packaging is sticky. But anyway, this is the Lip Plumping Gloss. So I think they redid the packaging, added some new shades, and then did a different applicator. So I wanted to pick it up. This is so good. I've tried this formula, or I think I tried it years ago, and I remember enjoying it, but it was never like my absolute favorite. I definitely think this could become one of my favorites. I don't know why I went with this shade. It's Praline. It's really pretty on the lips, but it's kind of darker than I would normally go in the summertime. They do have 13 different shades, including some light sheer shades and then some deeper shades as well. I think most of the line kind of leans sheer, but some of the lip glosses do have a good amount of pigment to them. This is definitely a plumping gloss. Like a lot of glosses claim to be plumping, but this one visibly makes my lips look bigger without the pain associated with a lot of other lip plumpers. There is a cooling, tingling feel, but it's not painful. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Buxom glosses, maybe a little bit less intense. So if you've tried those, I would compare it most to those. Even the way it makes my lips look, they look very smooth, very glossy and shiny, and definitely plumped up. Like this product, I don't even know how to explain it. You just know when a product plumps up the lips, and this makes my lips look visibly fuller. So I'm really impressed by the formula. It is very hydrating. The product lasts pretty well on the lips. I think it's a great option, and these are definitely an underrated product from e.l.f. I don't hear anyone ever talking about these, but maybe now that they kind of redid the line, added some new shades, they'll get a little bit of buzz. But even if not, I recommend checking them out. I think you won't be disappointed. And these are only, what are they, $7, so a great price. There's actually another lip gloss from e.l.f. I don't know. I mean, the formulas are a little bit different. I feel like I would reach for them for different reasons. So I ranked this one at number 2 because I like the fact that this has SPF 25. It's the Sun Boss Gloss Broad Spectrum SPF 25. They don't have as many shades. It is a newer launch from e.l.f. I have the shade Blush Much, and I just ordered another one. Personally, I love this formula. I've seen some negative reviews on this. Some people say they don't like the formula. I think it's nice. It's like a little bit of a balmy, like a thicker balmy formula. It's maybe slightly sticky, not uncomfortably so, but in the way that it's going to last on the lips, which is perfect because this is something you're going to want to apply to protect your lips because it does have SPF 25. I've talked about this in a recent video. Like I'm really good at applying sunscreen, but I always forget my lips. I love wearing lip gloss, especially during the summertime. So throwing this on is so nice. Reapplying it is really nice. It feels really moisturizing. It's very glossy, very hydrating. A little bit sticky, a little bit thicker, and a little bit sticky, but like I said, it does last well on the lips. I feel like it has a very slight coconut scent, maybe like a little bit of a sunscreen scent, but nothing too intense by any means. Coming in at number 1 in the lip product category is something that I have talked about on my channel a little bit. So, I mean, I had this on my list. I probably could have skipped it, but the ColourPop So Juicy Plumping Lip Oils became an instant favorite. These are so beautiful on the lips, and these are absolutely like my most reached for lip product right now. They are so much better than the Luxe lip oil formula. I did a video last year on all of the best and worst drugstore lip oils, and I just updated that video a few months ago. I'll link it below if you want more recommendations, but the ColourPop Luxe lip oils were one of my least favorite formulas. They were so underwhelming. They wore off really quickly. They were like too thin, too runny. They just weren't a great option in my opinion. These are so much better in every way, with the exception of the packaging. They're kind of messy. Like if you're not really careful when you're pulling the applicator out of the bottle, you end up with lip oil everywhere. So I just make sure to open them very slowly, which is, you know, a little bit of a con. It's not the end of the world, but they are pretty messy because the stopper in here is maybe a little bit bigger than it should be, but I think it's because of the formula. I'm sure if I tipped this upside down, like the product would end up spilling out. Anyway, I love the applicator, and I feel like because of the applicator and the formula, they had to make the stopper a little bit tighter than maybe they would have with other products. And all of that being said, it just creates like a little bit of a mess if you're like opening this really fast and throwing it on. That being said, if you can overlook that, this product is beautiful. It is so glossy, so shiny, incredibly smoothing. It's a little bit tacky tacky. So, truthfully, I would describe it more so like on a scale of like lip oil to lip gloss. It maybe leans a little bit more in the direction of a lip gloss than a traditional lip oil, but it gives you the look of a lip oil, just like that juicy, glossy, wet looking shine. They are incredibly moisturizing. I wore one the other night for like 3 hours, and even though like the color wore off and the really shiny finish wore off, my lips felt so moisturized 3 hours later. So they definitely have long lasting benefits too. They do have like a peppermint vanilla scent to them. So not something that I personally would have chosen. I don't love like minty scented lip products, and I feel like between these and the e.l.f. lip oils, I hope brands aren't like really getting into that. This one is Flirty Text, which looks vibrant in the packaging, but it's basically clear. And then this one is Beverly Drive. So the ones that have a little bit more color are still very, very sheer. And then some of them actually look full on clear, but you can just tell, like, look at that swatch. It is such a juicy, beautiful, glossy lip oil. It's amazing. So I love these. If that's the type of lip oil that you tend to go for, you can't go wrong with these. Okay, finishing up with eye products. Okay, number 3, I have a product that's actually really great from Essence. I just like the other two a little bit better, so that's why it's ranked at number 3. It's the Blend in Line Eyeshadow Stick. They have a couple of different shades. These are really nice. I feel like last year was the year every brand was releasing some sort of eyeshadow stick, so Essence was maybe a little bit late to the game on these, and they might have had some before, but I started using these as eyeliners, and they're really nice on the waterline because they're creamy, but they stay in place well. How many shades do they have? I'm checking Ulta's website, it's loading. So they have 4 different shades. They have like a gold tone, they have this ruby one, they have a green one, and then they have a brown one. They're $3.99 each. I think they're really nice. If there's a shade that really jumps out at you, it is nice as like a one and done eyeshadow all over the lid. I'll kind of draw it on and then use my finger to blend it out, and that looks really great. I'm not typically a one and done eyeshadow type of person, but sometimes during the summer I'm in a hurry and I want like a little bit of color on my eyes, and these do come in handy for that reason, but I mainly use these as eyeshadow on the waterline, and I feel like they stay in place really, really well. Okay, number 2 is this new mascara from CoverGirl. This actually kind of shocked me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but it's the Eye Enhancer Mascara. It's really beautiful. It comes in 2 shades. They have black, and then they have this berry brown shade. It's actually a lot more pigmented than I thought it would be. It really does show up on my lashes. I like wearing this on 2 different occasions. If I'm doing like a complete berry toned eye look, I do think it looks really pretty because your lashes kind of blend into your eyeshadow. But typically for me, I do like a little bit more of a black lash, like a dramatic lash if I'm wearing a lot of eyeshadow. So I don't always love that effect, but it is kind of fun if you're going for like a fully monochromatic look and you don't necessarily care if your eyelashes kind of blend into your shadow. I think it can be really pretty, but I also like it when I'm wearing like basically no eyeshadow and just like a little bit of bronzer into the crease, because then you can really see the mascara, and that's like the standout star, the standout product, you know what I'm trying to say, of like the full makeup look, just because it gives you like a pop on the eyes. So it's really, really pretty. The color is gorgeous, but I also like the formula because it gives my lashes a ton of volume. It's not the most lengthening mascara, which usually when it comes down to it, I do prefer volume and length, but I do think it's great at adding like a lot of thickness, a lot of drama to the base of your lashes. So I actually do want to pick this up in black and try that one out. It does wear really well. I don't experience any flaking or smudging, so I am a fan of this. Okay, so at number 1 in my eye makeup category, I have to go with the e.l.f. Lock It Down Eyeshadow Primer. I totally picked this up as like a random add-on because I usually do try out all of the new e.l.f. launches. And I won't say I was like really excited about it because I have been skipping eyeshadow primer quite a bit over the last few months. I'll just apply like a little bit of concealer and powder. But I tried this out and it made me remember why I liked using eyeshadow primer. It just kind of intensifies my eyeshadows in a subtle way, but a very effective way. Like my eyeshadow will last longer when I use this. It makes the eyeshadow apply better. It almost creates like a very creamy base. So when I'm applying something that's kind of powdery, it transforms the shadow and makes it feel higher quality. But even though it's creamy, my eyeshadow doesn't crease by the end of the day. So I have this on today. I have like a very basic eyeshadow look. I'm just using one of the middle shades from the e.l.f. I Love You a Latte palette. And then I applied the Rare Beauty highlighter on top in the shade Exhilarate and a little bit of a ColourPop Super Shock shadow on top, which I forget the name. I'll put it in the description box. And I just feel like everything looks really smooth, very, very creamy. So I think it's a great option. Even if you have, I'm trying to think. If you have oily eyelids or dry eyelids, I really think you would like this, but probably more so if you have dry eyelids because it creates a very creamy, soft feel to the eyelids. If you happen to be new to my channel, thanks for being here and making it until the end of the video. I film a lot of drugstore makeup content. I love drugstore and affordable makeup so, so much. So I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I'll put a couple of related videos for you on the screen, and I have even more content coming your way in July. Let me know if there's anything specifically that you would like to see on my channel so I can add it to my list, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.